you mentioned flow state, me being not great in terms of my familiarity with card games. Um, is it what can you describe about this flow state in card games? Is this something that you feel when you play deck builders greatly?
You could spend 20 minutes on a drawing, post it online, and get a mountain of praise. Or you could spend months or even years working on an indie game, release it, and get ripped apart in the reviews. That's just the nature of the industry. Every frame of an indie game is an expression of these indie developers.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Indie Neighbor, the show where I interview other independent game developers. Today I'm talking to Daan about his roguelike card game deck builder named Bibidi Bibidi. Um, Take it away, Daan. Introduce yourself.
Hey everyone. Well, that was a good introduction anyway. I'm Daan. I'm an indie developer, and together with my friend Jonas, who is also an indie developer, we are making Bibidi Bibidi, the wizard-themed roguelike deck builder slash card game slash other buzzwords.
Bibidi Bibidi has a very unique art style of everything looks like professional Disney. Like this is very, it is awesome. I can't get enough of it. Let's start at the beginning, and I want to ask you what makes Bibidi Bibidi different from other deck builders.
Yeah, so deck builders, it's an interesting genre, I think, because in a lot of ways, I think people want more of the same, if that makes sense. People want just another Slay the Spire, but a little bit different. I think in general, like it speaks to the psyche of consumers, like all over the world. We just want like something that's comfortable, but also a little bit different. So you keep, you know, you can keep some kind of like variety to it.
Yeah,
And since we've figured out that we probably won't be able to make the most in-depth, most strategic, most original, most hardcore deck builder in the game, we kind of opted for an alternative version, which is we're just trying to make the most surprising deck
yeah.
builder, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Barbary Kadabra! Abra Kadabra!
Is there like a comedy aspect when you say surprising and stuff like that? Is there like a lot of jokes, a lot of humor throughout the game?
I think so. Yeah. We're not making like flat out jokes in the writing or anything, but just kind of the way that I design games and the way that Jonas designs games. We kind of work on very opposite sides of the spectrum in a way. He's very like creative, focused, and like crazy ideas and this cool, silly art style, and I'm way more like systems design. Everything needs to be like straight and lined in,
Yeah,
and that clash, I think, is kind of what makes this so humorous in a way. Because I
yeah,
like dark fantasy. It's gritty. It has a little bit of darkness to it. And then he usually makes these cute designs. All these monster designs are kind of cute, but also a little bit off-putting.
yeah,
So I think most of the comedy and the humor comes from that clash, almost that contrast.
yeah. Let me see if I can sum up kind of the premise, right? Like you're a wizard character, and you choose from, I guess, one or two wizard characters. You stumble upon this well. You fall in the well, or you jump in the well, or something like that. And at the base of the well is this dungeon where you start encountering, other creatures, and that's where the story begins. And you begin fighting your way through this dungeon experience, like kind of underground. Is that correct? Good son.
Yeah. That's about it. I think. Yeah. There's this essentially like in the world building of the game, which is surprisingly in depth, even though we're not really putting it forward to the player that much.
Cool. Yeah.
There's essentially this magic wishing well somewhere hidden in the mountains,
Mhm.
that everybody has who has like a magic aptitude is pulled towards almost magnetically, and
Yeah.
when they reach it, they kind of see inside what their heart's most like truest desire,
Hmm.
which like, are you gonna jump in or not to get it? That's the real question.
Yeah. Man, I based on the artwork, as an artist myself, a concept artist and stuff, like I know that there's a lot of story, even stuff that the players will never know, but inside the artist's head, he's got a whole stories, all kinds of story details and stuff stored in there.
Yeah,
So that's really interesting.
yeah, it's this
Um,
idea of riding the iceberg, right? I'm not sure if you know
yeah,
about this. Yeah,
I,
so
I,
so
I
it's this
believe
kind
I've
of
heard, maybe I've heard it, but reiterate it. Maybe I've heard the statement, but let's hear it.
So I have a couple of like variations on this, but essentially I forgot who it was, but it's a famous writer, I think American classic writer.
Hmm.
We can
Yeah,
edit it in
yeah.
later. But point to the side where the name.
Yeah, I'll track it down. I'll track it down based on the
Yeah,
story.
yeah.
But um,
And essentially, he says, so you have the iceberg, which is the reader or the player in our case
mhm,
sees the story, which is the tip of the iceberg. That's everything that's above the surface, right?
yeah,
But what you actually write in preparation for it is the entire depth of the iceberg that goes all the way down into the ocean.
hmm,
So that the story on top makes so much sense, and you always feel that there's more to it than there actually is.
yeah,
And then the variation that I know of this is write a hollow iceberg. So you don't actually have to do all the foundational preparation to it. You can just set out the bones to it, and then like the tip is still the tip, but everything below it, it can you can take liberties with it. It doesn't have to be set in stone.
yeah,
And then the player can just kind of imagine what's going on in the background, right?
yeah. Like I heard that someone talking about like Elden Ring. Uh, People
Yeah.
get crazy with the lore, and it's just like, man, that was just
Yeah.
someone didn't stitch the textures like completely perfectly, and you're making up like a
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
other world of
I,
that.
I think the Souls-like games are a good example of this. People take them super seriously, and they really try to connect the tiny tiny details, everything together. But when you hear the director and like the people who actually write um, the world building for it talk about it, it's clear that they put a lot of thought and effort into it, and that they do try to connect all these things. But also,
Yeah,
I think they're very clearly trying to leave so much stuff open so that people just interpret like what's going on.
it is just amazing game design, and just
Yeah.
everything about those games is next level. We could go on forever, but definitely, yeah. Let's get back to Bibidi Bibidi. There's something that you said when off camera. You mentioned flow state, and me being not great in terms of my familiarity with card games. Um, is it what can you describe about this flow state in card games? Is this something that you feel when you play deck builders greatly?
Right. Yeah. 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 I think we referred to this when talking about Slate Spire as being the gold standard
Yeah.
for deck builders,
Hmm.
um, and the reason why it's so good, even though it's kind of like one of the first predecessors of the genre, and it has kind of developed and evolved quite a lot since,
Yeah.
um, is because there's this kind of very understandable synergy between cards.
Mm.
So you play the game, you don't even know all the mechanics, but there's something about how they designed the cards and how they designed the system around like getting the cards that it very intuitively make you try stuff together. And I think that's kind of where the flow state of card games come from, is when you start to see the matrix code behind the design and you start connecting the dots yourself and you
Yeah.
start experimenting with it. And as soon as it works, as soon as like you reap the rewards of that,
Yeah.
that really makes you go into the zone like really, really, really strongly. So.
Abracadabra. Salazapa.
Yeah, yeah. I'm imagining like cooking, and in the beginning of cooking or bad recipes or bad cooking is like you're confused by ingredients and you have to read them and precisely measure them. But like when you're really in the flow state of cooking, you're just like sprinkling here, you're grabbing things off the shelf, and you're like tasting while you go. And it's not this like boring, rigid process where
Yeah.
you're all uptight. You're just like doing it. Um,
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. It's kind of like it's almost like a type of mania. You know, it's
yeah,
kind of this hectic, but at the same time extremely focused, kind of laser focused state, right?
yeah, yeah. Do you guys feel like, are you guys doing any tricks or anything to kind of harness that yourselves? Like, how would you say that you guys are really tapping into that with Bibidi Bibidi?
Yeah, yeah, that's a good question, and I think it's one of the things that we're kind of trying to figure out still. The game is kind of like I want to say like halfway there.
Yeah,
We've been playtesting and iterating for about almost a year now, I guess.
yeah,
If you look at it from the prototype stage.
hmm,
And right now, the update that we're working on right now, coincidentally, is kind of us trying to figure out. We've got so many ideas in the game, and like all the fun, silly stuff is in there, and we've got a lot of like players who really, really love the game because of it.
hmm,
But I do feel like there's an element of that like synergy, what we talked about before, and the flow state that's not quite there. It can be. I've
yeah,
experienced it a lot because I know how the game works,
hmm,
and I've seen people experience it. But it seems like it doesn't always connect on the first go,
yeah,
um, and there's a lot of factors to it. There's like a randomness factor to it. There's like the way that we unlock cards is um, not super streamlined. So a lot of players can have different setups when they start a run um, in like the randomized reward pool. So it's kind of hard to gauge where exactly it falls flat, and that's exactly what we're trying to figure out right now.
yeah,
Um, and we do that by practicing subtractive design, as they call that,
yeah,
which is essentially just cutting out stuff and streamlining stuff that we already have to try to hone in on a very kind of more streamlined, less chaotic, and more just more understandable, I guess,
yeah,
simpler.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, I've built an app recently, and it deals with four primary menus. I mean, it's like a painting creative app, and it's like within these four menus, I had to go through and kind of go, okay, like each menu has like sub menus of buttons and things like that, and I'm like, okay, the player is not going to need these buttons when they're in this menu, and so like
Sure.
you have to go back and forth and flip and kind of only present to the player the details that they need at that
Yeah.
time to kind of not overwhelm them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an art form within itself, and that sounds like you're polishing that up and just really streamlining the gameplay for the player. And you said you're about
Yeah. Yeah.
50% there. Is that what you
Yeah, I
said?
think I think that was a very good comparison because it is about presenting the information to the player when they need it, and not like front loading all the mechanics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And that's actually a big part of what we're doing is like designing the basic set that when new players start the game, it's not too overwhelming,
yeah,
as well as like streamlining monster abilities and stuff like that because it can be like an overload of information if you
yeah,
just step in and you get the wrong random seed. It
yeah.
might be very confusing. So
I want to say, I work with two programs. I work with Maya is my, it just has been my 3D modeling program. And then I work with Unity as a game engine. And
yeah,
Maya is really bad at just giving you way too much options and way
yeah,
too many things like on the screen right off the bat.
yeah,
And Unity is like really good at just giving you like this basic little setting. But Unity
yeah,
obviously can grow into this incredibly complicated, anything, any video game you can make with it. But it starts
Yeah.
out, it's like, oh, what? There's only like a couple buttons up here, and then like the library.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this, how can you make a crazy game out of this? But Unity is just really
It
good
is.
with that. I love that about Unity. I don't know if you're
I
a
think
Unity
it's.
developer.
We were developing in Godot right now, but
Yeah,
I've professionally been a Unity developer for like a decade. Um,
yeah,
and I have a lot of grudges with Unity, but it's not related to that at all. I think it is definitely a reason why I bounce off of software if it's too like complicated from the get go. I
yeah,
never got the hang of Maya. I never got the hang of Unreal for the same
yeah,
reason.
yeah.
And I think that's why Unity is so popular. And Godot also does a pretty good job at this, like just
I
giving
agree.
you what you need at the start and then expanding it and with documentation and stuff if you need to figure out more than that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, I've worked with Godot a little bit as well, and I like Godot, and I think that they're moving that same direction. I think that they
Yeah.
saw the good things in Unity, and they're harnessing it. Um, I think that's a good place to kind of shift gears because I want to dive a little bit into your background and as well and the art.
Sure.
You could speak to the artists that you're working with as well, but where am I talking to you from for to start off? I don't even get that.
Right, right. Yeah, so I'm currently in the greater Paris region. I live in Montreux. It's a little city in the outskirts, essentially,
Cool.
of Paris. But I'm originally from the Netherlands. I'm a Dutch
Dutch.
guy,
Cool. Cool.
and I moved here to Paris for a job.
Yeah.
Essentially, I did a lot of freelancing as a technical artist in the Unity space for VR companies, for marketing companies, for mobile games and stuff like that. But not even games most of the time, just kind of like optimizing for graphics optimization for like race car simulators or some shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Very technical.
and yeah, very technical, yeah. And then there was a job opening here in Paris for a mobile game company who tried to make an MMO, social MMO, where you just kind of hang out and ride around in a van and stuff like that with some friends.
Yeah.
Um, and I did that for 4 years, I think, 4 or 5 years, and they went bankrupt. Um, so that's how it is in the games industry.
Yeah. 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 Everything's going independent, man. So is
Yeah,
my
yeah.
thought. It's only going to happen
And
more.
then and then what's great about France is that their unemployment benefits are really, really solid. So I essentially had 2 years of salary that could sustain me. And
Yeah.
in that time I was like, well, seems like a good time to do my own thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, you said a lot. Like, so how many? You probably speak at least three languages then. Um,
I speak Dutch and English quite well, and my French is like toddler level.
yeah.
Even though I've been here for a long time, but
Uh huh. Uh huh. Another funny detail. Your hat, Santa Cruz. Like, I grew up in Santa Cruz. Like,
Oh
that's
yeah,
yeah. I'm a skateboarder, and Santa Cruz Skateboards was like the town skateboard
yeah,
company.
the
Yeah,
local.
yeah. So
That's so funny.
I'm about 40 minutes north of San Francisco right now, and about 2 hours away from Santa Cruz. But it's just a random occurrence to talk to somebody on the other side of the globe who's wearing a hat from your hometown. You know what
Well,
I
it's
mean?
interesting. This is actually not my cap; it's my girlfriend's cap, and she's
Yeah,
like big into skating and longboarding and stuff. So she's a big fan
yeah, yeah.
of the brand.
Well, Santa Cruz itself and that style, especially in the late '80s, like really influenced the entire planet. With there's a little side note, but an artist named Jim Phillips who had this art style and he did a bunch of art for Santa Cruz skateboards, and it's very iconic. And I think that really influenced Santa Cruz projection across the planet. Um,
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I recognize the famous hand
yeah,
with the mouth thing. Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, unmistakable.
So, and I've always had a dream of making a game like really harnessing that style, but that's a totally other
I
stories.
think I think like Hippie Skate definitely takes a nudge in that direction,
Oh,
right?
thanks. Yeah, for sure. You know, for as much as we could, but yeah, it definitely feels skater, and it's one of my other favorite genres, which is the hippie genre. You know, but one of the things I like about the '80s style is the grossness. You know, like the Garbage
Yeah,
Pail Kids and just like boogers and slime and like just
yeah,
rotten teeth and stuff like that. So I always wanted to get like the gross side of things, but so
yeah.
at
I
some
think
point,
I think that's a great segue because Jonas also definitely has that like element to his art. He makes this kind of very cute, like you said, like Disney-esque designs.
yeah,
But there's always like a little wiener in there, or like a snot coming out somewhere, or like a loose teeth, or like a blood splatter or something.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um, Speaking of that, like when I studied illustration, and I was really inspired by a handful of people when I was really thick into that end, and I still am. One of them is like Sylvain Chomet, if you're familiar with he's the creator of like Triplets of Belleville, and it's just like when I look, you know, it, and your style is, I feel like, uniquely French. Um, like when I look at it, I'm like, oh, I got a good sense that it's probably French. Um, and anybody that's like checked out Triplets of Belleville and stuff, like it. I mean, I just love it. It's that raw pencil feel, like watercolor, like washes and stuff.
it,
It's
it's
so
interesting you
cool.
should mention that it's French because Jonas is Swedish and I'm Dutch, and there's no real Frenchness between us.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you guys are living in France,
That's
but
true.
it,
That's
it
true.
it could possibly be just a general European kind of vibe. Um, but it's it doesn't really seem like Japanese or anything like that. It doesn't really have much
Sure,
of like an anime vibe, and I wouldn't call
sure,
it
sure,
like
sure.
very American. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
got that fun European vibe. I mean, I loved it. There's another concept artist that I was very inspired by named another Sylvan Mark, who is really cool as well. That I think that you guys might find as a cool inspiration. He was just one of my big inspirations in school. I don't know why I was really drawn to the rough sort of French, uh, that exaggerated vibe when I was younger,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
I love it. Um,
It's cool. I think for us, because Jonas' style is not necessarily like what we're doing with BBD. It's quite specific. It's not like his main art thing. I think there's quite some reasons why we're going for this specifically,
yeah,
and one of the reasons why we got like the thick outlines that like really strong contours and these thick black outlines
yeah,
is because we don't really have the budget to make full animations.
mm,
So what we did is I made a shader that makes the lines all wobbly,
mm.
but to be able to differentiate like an outline versus a color or whatever, I needed it to be like a solid color. So essentially, we have these thick black outlines, so I can make them go like back and forth. So that the
Yeah.
idle animation is just a static frame essentially. Like
I've seen it. Yeah, it is a trick. It's like you guys definitely aren't the
yeah,
first to kind of go that path.
no,
It's cool. It does breathe a little bit of life into drawings, which sometimes is all you need. So yeah,
yeah,
that
yeah. We're
that's
trying. We're
cool.
trying to all the tricks that keeps us from that makes us able to make monsters fast and stuff like that. We're doing backgrounds with like some particles in them, even though it's 2D. There's like a little bit of 3D parallaxing going on. We're really pulling out all the tricks that are like fast and make it
Hmm.
look unique and
Yeah,
doesn't require a ton of different like individual assets that would make take too much time essentially.
yeah, yeah. So let's get into a little bit of your background. You studied computer science. Did you want to make video games since you were young? Like, was it that kind of thing?
Yeah, essentially, I've been tinkering with game development like it's hard to say when exactly it started, but I think when I was around 7 or something, my older brother, introduced me to RPG Maker,
Hmm.
which is a very like a specific engine to make kind of top-down, old-school JRPG type games with.
Yeah.
And I think everyone in our household had like, my sister and my brother, we all had our little spat with it. We all had our little
Yeah.
flirtations with this engine.
Hmm.
We ripped sprites from the internet. We ripped like NES Dragon Ball Z game sprites and made them walk around, jump on
Yeah.
crocodiles and stuff in
Man,
this little
that's
game
when you're
engine.
that young, that's awesome. Like to
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
be
And
introduced to
there's
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And since then I've kind of, I never knew that it was a thing that I could do as a as career path or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but I always loved it. Like there were moments where my mom told me to go outside. Like I have vivid memories of being inside with a computer and making video games on a very small scale and just tinkering around. And my
So
mom
ba
going, "You should go
yeah.
play outside."
Yeah, so based on that, you drift though towards the code and not necessarily the art. Like explain that a little bit.
Um, Actually, not necessarily. Kind of my trajectory was, I was tinkering around with stuff. I wrote a lot. I just wrote a lot of like fiction and stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And I drew and illustrations and stuff. But I never really got good at drawing just because I'd never put in the time and this learning to get skilled at it. And also
Hmm.
my fine motorics aren't that great.
Hmm.
And then I went to a game art school that was meant to do the visual stuff and the audios and the sound design and stuff,
You went
and a
to
little bit of game design. Yeah, what's that?
that's where you studied at? You went to art school, like an art game school?
Yeah, yeah. More focused on the creative aspects of it than the computer sciencey parts.
What's the
Uh,
name of that school? That sounds interesting.
it's called Media College, Media College in
Media College.
Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I'm not still sure if it's still around because it wasn't doing that well when I was on it.
Yeah.
Um, and honestly, it wasn't that good of a school in general.
Yeah.
No shade, but like, all the teachers, they never worked in the game industry. They were all like kind
Yeah.
of, the creative people and some of the illustrative stuff was really good to know and the audio stuff was good to know. It was like
Yeah.
basic software
Yeah.
knowledge.
And then
But
from
the
there, what would you call your solid language, your favorite language? Are you like you consider yourself like PhD level computer science or
No, so
very
so actually
confident?
what happened was that school, in the same school they had a programming course.
Yeah.
So they teamed us up with the people from the programming course to make games together.
Yeah.
But the problem was they were all really bad.
Mm.
Not like technically bad, but like either in communication skills or they were just flunking a lot and they
Yeah.
never showed up.
Yeah.
Um, and that might be because of the communication between the teachers and the departments and stuff. I don't know the fine of it, but essentially it came to someone to program the games, and I was the only one that had the technical aptitude to actually do it.
This was
So
before you really knew code. Like this was
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So you just
yeah. So,
decide someone's got to do this and I'm going to learn it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We were working with Unity back then, like an old version of it,
Hmm.
and I think they were doing the JavaScript version of it, like Unity script, I think it's called, or TypeScript. I don't know. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, yeah, they used
Um,
to support JavaScript. That's why when I started with Unity, I was
yeah,
writing in JavaScript. So,
yeah, yeah. So they were doing that. The other department was doing that, and I was like, okay, well, I'll just kind of try to figure out what they're doing and Google to add stuff to it and
yeah.
really just tinker like that. And it never worked the way I wanted to, but it's cool projects. It's fine.
Yeah.
And gradually, yeah, I did that like for 3 years or something, and gradually just became better at it. And yeah,
And then so And then from there, you just got a job and just became much more
No,
powerful.
no, no, no,
Oh,
no, 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 definitely not. No, if only. No, no, no. The game industry in the Netherlands wasn't that big.
yeah,
Not that. Well, it was all right, but like growing.
yeah.
And yeah, from there I kind of like started trying to make my own games while, I think I had a dishwashing job at the side for a long
Mm,
time,
mm,
and started trying to make my own games. Really, just the games that you expect from someone who just graduated school,
yeah,
like very basic, very or way too overscoped and ambitious, or too small and not interesting.
yeah.
But yeah, I did that for a long time. I think like 4 years or something, until I started freelancing, because I had enough technical knowledge to start doing freelancing on the side.
Freelancing, doing like projects, coding. You said you did like you dabbled in like graphics code and all kinds of stuff
Uh,
like that, right?
Technical art mostly, yeah. So
Oh,
that
tech
it
art.
was like
Nice.
it was a little bit of VFX for mobile games. It was a little bit of like graphics optimization for VR companies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool
So
you mentioned you're writing shader code for with Godot. Um, the scribbly line thing looks great, so it seems like you're
thanks.
nailing it. You know what I mean? Like very confident style.
Yeah.
So right on. That's cool. I think without going too long, let's dive back into the game, see if we missed anything, and then we'll kind of wrap things up. So I like to
Sure.
ask. You said you guys are kind of still in this playtesting mode. I see the button to join the playtest here on your Steam page. Um, is there anything that you want to communicate to players? I mean, is the playtest like I'm not super familiar with how the playtests run with
Sure.
Steam, but do you guys oversee all the testers and you talk to them while they're playtesting, like, and you just get feedback directly from them? Are you guys going to launch a demo here anytime soon that you want to fill in people with?
Yeah, yeah. So the kind of trajectory we're on now is like from the get-go, from the moment we made our prototype, we wanted to be completely open and transparent with the development. So essentially, like we just started asking people that we know and other creative peers and whatever to play test it. We made a little, and then just like directly get feedback from them. And then we made a little Discord server that has been gradually growing. We're also like asking on Reddit a lot. Like we're going straight to the source where the players are, ask them to play the thing, and they write up a bunch of feedback, send it to us. And only more recently we've started to do more things inside the game. So we have like a little feedback button that you can click on,
Hmm.
and it will take you to a Google Doc. And there's like a bug report button that you can also put like feedback in and feature requests and whatever.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah, that's great
yeah,
info that the players should know. Do you guys have a Discord or anything that you guys are telling people to go to?
we do. We do. We have a Bibidi Bibidi Discord that you can also join it from inside the game. So if you like the game and you think that you want to hang out with the community, you can just click on the Discord logo, the little button inside.
Um, I'll put a link to it in the video as well if
Oh
you
yeah,
want me
great.
to, for sure.
Click
Um,
here, here. And
um,
yeah, the next thing would be to create an actual demo, like a public facing demo that we want to submit to Steam the next Steam Next Fest,
Team Next
which
Fest,
is I
yeah,
think somewhere in August or June or something.
and
Um,
that's something you guys for sure have in the works. Like you guys are going to move
yeah,
forward with a demo. Um, and then
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
next Steam Next Fest is I don't know when it is. How many months away would you say that might be coming up?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in June or August or something.
Yeah,
Um, so about that amount of time.
yeah,
But we want to finish the demo like before that. We want to finish it before like somewhere in April, I think. Because in terms of content, we're nearly there.
yeah.
Um, and then the idea is that the demo will gather some wish lists before launch, put it in next
So
fist.
uh, you say June or August. That's what is that, like 4 or 5 months away?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, they could be seeing, like, this demo could be coming out. You could be seeing that. So join the Discord, join their play testing, and then, or join the Discord, get some updates for when this demo might be coming out. Follow the project. I
Please
think
do,
that'd
please
be
do.
really cool.
We need all the feedback we can get because
Get it. We gotta
it
get that
needs to
flow
be the best
state.
thing ever. Yeah.
And okay, then if nothing else, thanks everyone. This has been another episode of Indie Neighbor. Great talk with Daan about his game Bibidi Bibidi. If you guys like these videos, make sure to check out some of my other interviews, and we'll see you next time.
Bye,
Um,
everyone.